Sarah Davis. About 2.5 years ago, my father decided that gyms did not support men of his stature, and that men like him did not need to be in spandex. So over the next several months, every couple of weeks, Jack would come into the house with a new 2x4 with springs and pulley contraption, and this was going to transform his body into the body that he used to know. So, I mean, probably 7 or 8 incarnations, and finally he had come up with the TV gym. Patent pending. The idea is that you sat in front of TV and you were only required to be athletic during commercials. and that it was possible to drink red wine while doing this, which he believed was a healthy thing to do. So Chrissy Kiefer is here to perform a piece that she has done in tribute to the TV gym. Jack also loved to come up to people and show his belly, which we all know never really changed past 1990, and make you touch it and say, look at how firm it is now that I've been using the TV gym.
Actually, I think Sarah should do a little demonstration for us, because it was not very easy to master.
But it was. So I think...
Go ahead.
I actually think it's best in profile. I believe that eventually he wanted cue balls that you could all customize for yourself. He believed it was a foot massager as well. The idea was that you rolled your feet and it massaged your feet, those ugly feet he had.
Right there next to your television.
And you were watching your TV. The idea was you pulled it as you pushed it, causing resistance in the upper torso. Then when you pulled it back towards you, you pushed on it, causing things that happened in the back that I never was willing to let him explain to me. And then you did it like this. And many a family camping trip, Jack stopped being pleasant where he would go off and do the TV gym for 20 minutes at a time. This is his legacy, and, you know, one day.
Somebody found a record from one of Dad's neighbors when he was about, I guess, 5.
It's the first written story of Jack Davis when he was 5 years old.
Yeah, it's a nice little story. So yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and read it. Mr. Arthur M. Davis of this city, honored as the new president of the Arizona State Bar, is better known to us as the father of Jack Davis of Kenilworth School. Some years ago, when Jack Davis was 5 years of age, we observed him with our own eyes approaching our house with a dill pickle in one hand and a molasses-covered popcorn ball in the other.
5 years old.
These he consumed on our front lawn, one bite by one bite of the other. This he did with the silent, deliberate intensity of a finely tooled machine. Whereupon he proceeded into our residence, moving directly to the kitchen, where he took a large, unopened box of crackers, and with this under his arm, he silently departed, pausing but briefly on the front lawn to try out a pocket knife on our new 50-foot-long hose. It is our belief that at this period in his life, he was manufacturing pocket knives. The last we saw of him, as we were struggling into our clothes, he was entering his own home with our crackers. The Phoenix newspaper article, 1954.
celebrate the life and grieve the loss of John Arthur Marshall Davis, a remarkably good man.
Jack, what can I say? You went too early. We were still supposed to play, but now you're good where you are, and you live on always. Look at all these people. We're all carrying you. Love you.
Was performing at a street fair with my street act in Tempe, Arizona, right next to Phoenix, and got the pleasure of meeting Jack's mother, who he always called Mommy. That was a wonderful experience. Went to a festival in Key West, Florida. Jack showed up with a friend, and they were sleeping in a sleeping bags in a tent on the beach. Many, many different things.
Built cabinets for me in the studio exactly the way I needed them to store paper and supplies. And when he was building them, it was really wonderful because he was testing how strong they were going to be. And of course, he knows the people of San Francisco very well. And he said, well, you know, I have to test them to make sure they're strong enough because eventually somebody will have sex on them.
Rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May you get 1 foot in heaven before the devil knows you're gone. Good to see you, Jack.
Everybody that knew and loved Jack is we were more than we were by having
him. He had a zen intelligence. He'd always be at the heart of matters, whatever it was, and just very, very stable influence, stabilizing influence in the group. I never heard him say a bad word about anybody. Just good man, good man.
Jack has touched all of us, and in the one way that he touched me, that he reaffirmed some of the things that I learned from my parents but discounted. I realized that it is okay to take responsibility, that it is okay to do things for other people, and that it is okay to do things for other people even if they don't know.
The first time I met Jack, back in 1970, I was performing with the Moog synthesizer. I was the only guy in the world who had a Moog synthesizer that was portable at the time, and I think there were 4 of them, maybe 5 of them in the whole world. And I had several people who were my technicians, and one of them also was a technician at Lone Mountain College. And one day he came to me and he said, "You got to come to Lone Mountain College. You won't believe this guy looks just exactly like you." Now, I had long reddish beard and long blonde hair, and I was wearing bell-bottom trousers and a blue shirt with a little vest and kind of little glasses, you know, hippie. And so I went, okay. So we went up to Lone Mountain and walked into the Wabe. That was the theater at Lone Mountain at the time. And there, on the other side of the Wabe, was this guy who was kind of like a mirror image of me. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and we walked slowly across the dance floor toward each other, and we were both wearing the same outfit. I couldn't believe it. And we met, and that was it. From that point on, we were best buds. Now, he had a few inches on me. I'm only 5'10", he's like 6'1", but we were...
This is one of Vladimir's last lines at the end of Godot. This is for Jack. Was I sleeping while the others suffered? Am I sleeping now? Tomorrow, when I wake or think I do, what shall I say of today? That with Estragon, my friend, at this place until the fall of night, I waited for Godot. But in all that, what truth will there be? Astride of a grave and a difficult birth, down in the hole, lingeringly, the gravedigger puts on the forceps. We have time to grow old. The air is full of our cries, but habit is a great deadener. At me too, someone is looking. At me too, someone is saying, he is sleeping. He knows nothing. Let him sleep on. I can't go on. For Jack, there is no more waiting. But for those
procedures. But it's Richard Rekow, if anybody you know Richard Rekow. And Richard played Iago to Jack's Othello at the South Coast Rep many, many years ago. And he wanted me to let you know these few thoughts. We shared so many great moments on stage in Shakespeare's Othello or Antony and Cleopatra. I was your friend and fellow artist and craftsman. And methinks to spend the time playing together on stage with you alone were better than to own a crown, a scepter, or a...
I met Jack Davis in 1986 and was lucky enough to become one of his neighbors at Mission Creek. At Mission Creek Harbor was where I first got to know Jack. My husband and I got a house there, and we had great times with Jack. He was a wonderful neighbor, as you can well imagine. And after I had... used to work downtown in a public relations firm, and then after I had my kids, I begged Jack to please let me start working at Somarts, please, because I wanted like a more flexible sort of part-time job that would go with like raising little kids. So he so very, very kindly let me start taking on some tasks here at Somarts, and I've been here ever since. And we're really going to miss you, Jack. We really are. You were the glue. You were more than the glue, actually. I think you were the mortar. You were the bricks and the mortar of Somarts, so we'll really miss you.
And through all the years since Jack's become executive director, he has a vision, and he's developed the organization and the cultural center. And till this date, it's...
I'd also like to do the big thank you to Somarts. Without the cooperation of Somarts, I don't quite know where we'd be doing something this big. And they're a wonderful and generous organization. And they're like that partially because of their executive director who passed away last year, Jack. And Jack Davis, one of the most just overwhelmingly supportive people in the arts that there has ever been. So let's give a little round of applause to Keegan Thornton.